Welcome to Kann Media Group. Today we're turning our attention to one of the most exciting stories of our time, the transformation of Africa's energy sector. For years, Africa was portrayed as a land of untapped potential, rich in resources, yet struggling to deliver reliable power to its people. But that narrative is shifting. A new chapter is being written, a chapter of ambition, innovation, and bold change. By the end of this video, you will understand why Africa's energy sector is poised for greatness and how this could reshape the continent's future. Africa's endowment of energy resources is vast and often underappreciated. The continent holds enormous potential in solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal energy. For example, one analysis states that Africa has more than 1,000 times larger potential for onshore renewables than its projected 2040 electricity demand. The question is not, can Africa get power? But rather the question is, how swiftly and wisely will Africa use this power? Energy demand in Africa is rising fast, driven by population growth, urbanization, industrialization, and the push for modern infrastructure. The Africa Renewable Energy Manufacturing Report emphasizes that this demand surge means renewables are the logical way forward. This urgency creates both challenges and opportunities. Challenges because large investments, grid upgrades, policy framework are needed, but opportunities because leapfrog technologies like off-grid solar, mini-grids, digital solutions means Africa can skip over older expensive models, and Africa can invent new and more digitized ways of creating energy. Unlike many developed regions which have long been locked into fossil fuel infrastructure, Africa has the chance to leap ahead. Off-grid solar and mini-grid systems are already changing lives in communities far from centralized systems. For instance, recent research in Kenya and Nigeria found solar mini-grids boosted incomes, improved health, and expanded opportunities in rural areas. In short, Africa is not just catching up, it is innovating new pathways. Energy is not just about light and power, it is about jobs, industries, economic sovereignty. A detailed report shows investment in energy transition technology creates 3 times as many jobs per dollar as fossil fuels in Africa. The IEA highlights that in a sustainable Africa scenario, about 4 million additional energy-related jobs will be needed by 2030. What does this mean? A rising youth population in Africa can gain meaningful employment in clean energy manufacturing, installation, and maintenance. Countries can build their value chains instead of just exporting raw resources. Africa's energy story is not inward-looking alone. It has global implications. For example, green hydrogen produced in North Africa's solar wind zones could be cost competitive and exportable by 2030. Countries rich in minerals, manganese, platinum, and cobalt that feed batteries and hydrogen technologies are African, which positions the continent for the global clean energy. Thus, Africa's energy sector doesn't just serve local growth, it can become a global energy hub. Of course, great potential alone isn't enough. This shift requires strong regulatory and policy framework, financing for infrastructure, grid, storage and transmission, technology adoption and manufacturing scale, robust governance and institutional capacity. But the winds of change are blowing. More international funding, more policy reform, more public-private partnerships, and the momentum is building. Why do I say soon Africa's energy sector will be great? Because several factors are converging. Renewables have become cost competitive globally. Africa's energy demand curve is steep and visible. Digital, decentralized technologies means smaller and faster deployments. African nations are increasingly aligned with the climate agenda, both access and low carbon transition, which unlocks further investment. The result, a tipping point is within reach. Many countries are ramping up solar and wind. In Central and West Africa, reaching areas long underserved. Large infrastructure projects are being launched on approved in Africa's energy space. No sector rises without friction, and so is the Africa energy sector. The challenges include grid constraints, financing, technology, and local capacity. Each of these challenges is being addressed. With the right strategy, they become stepping stones to success rather than barriers. For Africa, a manufacturing and services boom means job and economic growth. Energy exports and local value chains means global relevance. This story isn't somewhere else. It is about our continent's future. Every time a rural community gets reliable power, it is part of this story. Investors, policymakers, youth entrepreneurs all have a stake. Watch how this sector transforms lives you know, places you live, economies you care about. Africa's energy sector will soon be great. It is not a wishful thinking. It is grounded in resources, demand, innovation, and momentum. From being in the dark, the continent is on the verge of lighting up. In homes, in factories, in networks, in exports. If you believe in Africa's rise, then watch this space, because the revolution is starting and it will touch you, your country, your generation. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, like, share, and subscribe to Kann Media Group. Let's keep telling the stories that matters to our continent's future.